everybody. Chuck Ramsey, the Lawdog, here with you, joined by JMatt, John Matthews, as we're bringing you an episode of Western Oklahoma Sports Night, powered by Lawdog Sports. And what a Western Oklahoma Sports Night it has been over the last 4 or 5 days. And John Matthews joining me here. Appreciate you jumping on. When you first jumped on the call here, I saw you there. I thought, man, do we need to start a GoFundMe for the Matthews Family Utility Fund? Or
I had the hoodie on, like it was like this.
You look like you were about to have to go out and shovel snow or something.
We've got it set for 60 right now. And yeah, in my house, it's probably at like 55. It's not. It's cold outside. Have you been outside this morning?
Yeah, I go outside every morning. Unfortunately, I would prefer not to, but yeah, it's one of those things where if you do bundle up in layers, it makes such a difference. But the wind will cut through most all layers.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. It's one of those. I don't care if you got your Carhartt or your North Face, or you better have a full blown. I'm gonna go rob a bank ski mask, or it's bitter outside this morning. We were talking all morning about should the most controversial day in Western Oklahoma school history to have class or not have class.
Those kids have to go to school in this cold.
Well, listen. SWASU canceled. They never cancel.
Yeah.
Which I guess they used to never cancel.
How much commuter college traffic do you think they have? I mean,
I think quite a bit. I think today's more than anything, if you had to walk from Neff Hall to the Science Building, you could have gotten frostbite. Like there wasn't, you never schedule 2 classes back to back in the same building. You're always crossing buildings. And I know Weatherford Middle School announced they are staying in their main building today. And so, no, I think once you get inside a building, it's not so bad. But you're right, SWASU, that's not possible there at all.
Yeah. Well, full disclosure, we live in Thomas, and on our corner, there are anywhere up to 15 to 20 kids who catch the bus. I just saw the tail end of the kids, but there were kids getting on the bus to go to school here in Thomas. The time if you had to wait, and I think several parents, had their cars out there with them waiting, but this cold is just so ridiculous. But think about this, John. Monday, it's supposed to be 60 some, I think, or
a 74 is what I saw from Monday this morning.
I'm sure my golf group's going to go ahead and book a tee time at Romano's, and I'm going to be there with them because
we're going to Watauga, you said on Monday?
Romano's, baby. It's $25 on Mondays.
We can make that happen. I'm in.
Yeah. I mean, you're the one who taught me the philosophy, and I have lived by this credo since, but I don't really have a job anymore. But never golf on a Saturday, because why would you want to golf on your own time?
That's right. That's right. Do it on. No, that's easy for a retired guy to say.
It is. Yeah. I love saying that. But no, there's a group of gentlemen who invited me back. It's coming up on a year ago almost to come out and golf with them. And it took me a minute to make it out there with them. And here's the caveat to that, John. They're all a bit older than me. So they hit from the red tees. And, I don't want to slow up pace of game. So if I was out from the white tees, it would, at Romano's, it would just slow things up. So I jump in there with them. So, my game is quite skewed. And I think Max Patton proved that when I had played in a scramble that you were supposed to be at back in July in Sayre. Is it Sayre or is it Sayre? I think Sayre. But anyways, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to plan on doing that Monday, depending on what happens. But I will be on the road Saturday for playoff basketball for the Weatherford Eagles and Lady Eagles. And 4A gets underway in districts this week. A and B and 2A are already underway. And I already heard you this morning. I don't remember if it was on KCLI or the Coyote, maybe both. But you're already chipping your teeth about the playoff setup.
Oh, it makes sense, right? Let's invite everybody, whether you've won 2 games or you've won 30 games. And in fact, let's do it this way. Let's have the team that won 30 games play the team that won 2 games, because that's going to work out great. I can't wait for a senior to end his career losing by 90 for the final game, because that makes I'm just so glad and happy that we include everybody and everybody can make the playoffs. And it just makes my heart full.
Your sarcasm is detected, and your point is valid. The governing agency, who I will not be named on this show, they have so many other fish to fry, like taking a win away from somebody after the scorebook showed, that a scoring discrepancy was made. I think it was a school called the Academy. I guess that's I don't know. It's Class A, but they played Apache and lost by one, I think, or two, and it was basically reversed on a scorebook error that they showed where they were credited for a 3 and it was only a 2, and it just a debacle. And man, kudos whoever the academy coach, his name's Brendan something. I saw it. He went ahead and owned up to it. Said we're not going to advance on a game that we didn't actually win. So, kudos to him. But your point is taken on the playoffs. I will say this: if you're going to have every single team in it, give the good ones some buys. I mean, just give Weatherford a pass into regionals. Don't make them have to travel, for districts. Make those play-in games.
Which usually the good ones are hosting. I mean, that's how it normally works. It's just
the number one team in the state, wire to wire in Class 4A, is traveling to Cache for districts. That's
well, that's just a scheduling error or conflict, however you look at it. I mean, Weatherford's hosting wrestling regionals, and that's when a bunch of teams are coming to the town of Weatherford, way more than if we were hosting districts. And economically, it makes sense. You need to choose one. That's the one you choose. But I
didn't even think that it was a scheduling issue with wrestling.
Yeah, no, wrestling's got a big tournament
going on. Put it at the PCEC. They're on the road.
Now that I would be okay with moving it somewhere, whether it be at the Pioneer Cellular or the Pioneer Event Center at SWATSU. But you know how that goes. Then you start stepping on people's toes, and who knows? Either way, Weatherford's going to, was it Cache?
Yeah, Weatherford travels to Cache. Clinton is, I think, on the road to Kingfisher.
Yep, Clinton wins that game we discussed this morning.
Huh, Clinton?
Clinton was going to beat Kingfisher.
In girls or boys?
Boys.
Oh.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Man, here's the thing, and we'll, I want to talk matchups as well, but Kingfisher came into the Eagles' Nest and kind of gave Weatherford a little bit of a fit. I mean, it was a blowout win. That's what Weatherford does, but they got a kid that transferred from Piedmont playing for Kingfisher named Hayes White, and he kind of balled out against Weatherford a bit. I can't see him. He's a good player. I can't see him letting especially here's another thing, John. You can have a great team, and Weatherford's on a home winning streak right now. Kingfisher was at 80 when we broke up that streak in 2023. Do you think it's just the talent of the teams that create a home winning streak?
No, you're right. There's a home environment. There's the student section. There's the PA announcer, the music, everything they have set going up for that.
Yeah. What Clinton is vastly improved from what they were last season. And that was, just they've got some players that I love the way Aiden Crumley plays, man. He shot some threes the other night in the Custer County Conflict round 2. Ethan Laughlin's a big kid. He can hit from outside when he's going, but I don't know. It's just, and I think if I remember right, Clinton was without Ronnie Redshin.
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, he was out. So he's another catalyst for that offense. Hey, if they went up there and pulled off the upset on Kingfisher and got into the winners bracket, I would be very happy for Coach Sider and the Red Tornadoes. But traveling to Kingfisher and having an equal or a little bit deficit on the talent and skill areas, I'll probably fall for the home team.
Does Kingfisher get to host regional? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, they're hosting regionals. Weatherford will get one game in Weatherford. They are the sub-site for Area 1 of Class 4A playoffs, and then the entire regionals will be at Kingfisher.
I hate it.
Yeah, and then here's another thing. Area is at Stroud, which Stroud is halfway between Tulsa and Oklahoma City.
Wow. Okay.
But
so
the other half of the region of the area for Area 1 is programs like Fort Gibson, Oologah, Catoosa, all those. Man, those are teams that I played when I was in high school in that area. Grove and Veneta, way up in the northeast part. So, I don't know. Class 4A is just kind of wacky.
No, it's all over the place. But the good news is, I think you're looking at no matter what happens, and I know to fast forward all those important games, like 30-point blowouts, but do you get to Weatherford Douglas at the end? Is there any other outcome there? And is there any chance they accidentally put them in the same side of the bracket?
No, I don't think so. If Chalk holds out and Weatherford, goes through the playoffs undefeated, wire to wire number 1, Douglas, I don't see anybody in their area I was looking at their area today. Unless Southeast Oklahoma has some team like Idabel or somebody, nobody's going to give them any resistance. It would likely be on the opposite side of the brackets. Looking at the rankings, I would think that Crossings would be on the side of the bracket with Douglas.
Okay.
So the rank, and if I'm going by what I understand, you've got Weatherford at 1, Douglas at 2, and Crossings Christian at 3. That would put North Rock Creek, I guess, in the side with Weatherford, maybe an Idabel at number 5. So Idabel is a quality team at 20-4. They could give Douglas a little bit of a headache, but I don't see them stumbling. Not with the talent they've assembled.
And either one, Crossing Christian or North Rock Creek, Weatherford beat them both by 30.
Crossings, we haven't played them this season. We lost to them last season. That Crossings is the team that could be the spoiler in this dream matchup of the third time for Weatherford and Douglas. Cal Furnish, man, he is a shooting guard deluxe, and he can pop from outside. They've got another kid that's 6'8", who, in my opinion, they let him shoot outside too much. Cam Douglas, I think, is his name, or Cam, I forget. But Crossings could be the wrench in the machine that kind of creates, the lack of a third rematch.
Gotcha. No, you're right. Douglas is who played Crossing. We played North Rock Creek. My fault.
Yeah.
Which that was a 6-point game, I think. That's impressive.
I think Douglas pulled away late, and I don't think they had Jaden Nickens in that game. So
of course not. He just transferred in.
Yeah, he was waiting that 14 days that you wait to get in on a squad. We are streaming live on Facebook here, Western Oklahoma Sports Night, and then you can catch this episode also on the YouTube channel at Lawdog Sports, and also we will save it to our podcast page, SoundCloud, Spotify, Amazon, and Apple. John Matthews from 95.5 The Coyote Right Media joining me here today. Did you see the picture that I received from Weatherford, Oklahoma, or Weatherford basketball girls player?
No.
So we're sitting there getting ready for the game Monday night, and Marley Teasley's mom comes up and hands me a picture, and it's a picture that one of the, I think Steve Wheeler and Kelly Schmidt are the ones that take pictures the most around the court side and stuff, and promote their action pics and stuff. But it's a picture of Marley Teasley out on the court tying her shoe. And she's knelt down tying a shoe, and Marley signed the back of it, and I thought, and her mom said, we knew how much you called out that she was tying her shoe on the air, so we wanted to give you this picture.
Oh, poor thing! Just all the time, huh?
Took a picture of me and Marley holding the picture and said, no one picture could sum up my time calling Marley Teasley's games than this, and it was hilarious. But she hit 1,000 points on her career mark last week against Bethany. Tough loss in that one. And Weatherford girls, they give the upper ranked teams a go when they're hitting from outside. And that's the thing about basketball, John, is a lot of these teams have figured out volume of 3-point shots can make a difference, because if you shoot 20 and make 8, that's a pretty bad percentage, but you still have 8 threes on your bucket, under your belt. And if a team goes out and goes 4 of 5 from 3 and then just, hits a ton of 2s, it can still look like a closer game than it was.
No, I mean, that's what the type of basketball that we play now. I mean, that's just how it is in 2025.
I'm just saying I'm still old enough to remember when you didn't take a 3 unless the ball had been kicked around, several times to the post and back out. I mean, you would be running some wind sprints if you did.
By the way, did you see? Did we talked about Kingfisher Clinton, that game at Clinton? By the way,
yeah. Sorry, they're at Clinton. My bad. The regionals are. It's right here in front of me. My apologies. So yeah, Clinton hosting regionals. Kingfisher. Thanks,
Marty, for that. By the way.
Yeah, Why am I not seeing comments?
I don't know.
Well, can you monitor those?
I got you. Hi, Kenny. I'm supposed to say, and hi, Pam.
Kenny McGuire.
Yeah, he showed up.
McGuire Insurance and Thomas America.
Let's go. That was your cohort, right? And everything.
We didn't do a season together. He's been with Mike Crow for Thomas football the whole way. Marty correcting us, and it's right here on the bracket I was looking at. Regionals are at Kingfisher, but I mean, here's the thing, a challenge to the Red Tornado Nation, get out and support because looking at the broadcast, and I'll even take some Weatherford fans to task, John. I mean, when our girls and the boys, I get it. And I was here, when I started, Grant Gibbons had Jordan and Addie Hoffman, Hunter Bayless, Kennedy Stewart. They were just demolishing most of the only teams they really, the only team they really couldn't beat in Western Oklahoma was Tuttle. And they're bringing in 2'6" girls. But Clinton fans, you got to show up. I mean, on the stream, you can see the empty seats across the way from the players. And I know that might be a visitor section, but it seems like at the Tornado Dome, everybody just sits wherever they want. I mean, it's pretty sparse. And then Weatherford people, and particularly the student section, quit standing around and doing nothing. I mean, good grief. You've got your girls who are fighting to, make a playoff run. Their games are exciting. And I don't know. I sit over there, John, at my table calling the games, and I'll start waving my arms trying to get the Weatherford faithful to start getting loud. I mean, I've been extremely disappointed with a lot of the fan interaction this season. I mean,
it's hard. I mean, it's 2025, right? I know I've said that twice now. You do see. I mean, even some SWASU games or Weatherford games or wherever it's not what it used to be. This is the back in my day speech you're trying to give, and
I thought that was my angle.
I mean, we're just kind of I mean, the student section, they have their moments. They get into it. They start chanting at them and picking on the other team. But
if they do, I guess that glass wall that I sit behind blocks the sound because I don't hear. I mean, I hear everything else in that. I hear shoes squeaking. I hear players, but apparently I'm oblivious to the student section and all the noise they bring.
Hey, it's playoff time. It'll get better.
They better show. I mean, when we play against Elk City, and I'll put the challenge out right now for Eagle Nation, Weatherford girls will beat Cache this weekend. I mean, that's going to be a pretty nice win for them. So that means they will likely take on Elk City in the first round of regionals. First round of regionals, you win that one, you're in the winner's bracket. You're in the championship of the regional at Kingfisher against likely Kingfisher. Bring the heat. If Elk City comes here, the way that game went at Elk, I would hope that all of our students, all of our fans would show up and just be extremely loud and even obnoxious. I'll just leave it at that. I won't go further. But I mean, get into the game. Those girls, and here's the thing, and my point I was going to make, John, is first season I called Weatherford basketball, the girls were just demolishing everybody. And you knew they were going to make it to state. You wanted to see if they could make to the championship, because they had the talent. Boys were an unknown. The Sage twins were freshmen. CJ was a freshman. You saw CJ early in the season. He could get out there and score. The Sage twins took about a half a season to kind of get adjusted to the high school game. And then at about late January, they go on a run. I think they won 12 straight going into the playoffs. They beat everybody but Kingfisher. And then they make a run to the state semifinals. That was one of the most exciting things I had. They had a buzzer beater by Tay Vu at Anadarko. That was a huge win. I mean, there were truly exciting moments for the boys that season because they were an unknown quantity. Is it quality or quantity? They were an unknown quality, one of the two. And the girls were just kind of, they knew what their destination was. They were just kind of, I hate to say coasting, but they were just demolishing everybody. So it was hard for me as an announcer to pick up the pace for a team that we knew was just going to press and dominate everybody. And then when the boys played, well, now that's reversed. The boys just kind of go out and do what they do. They're exciting. They're talented. They do great things. But these girls' games, John, are just amazing. I mean, those girls go out there when they're Brayley Epp the other night, she had, I think, 5 threes or 6.
She starts knocking them down. She gets hot. It's pretty impressive. Oh, my gosh.
And I tell her all the time, shoot it more. You know, we talk about volume of threes. She has great form on her three. She misses 1 or 2, and she gets a little hesitant. It's like, you can't do that as a shooter. And I said the same thing about Talon Payne in the game against Blanchard. She just couldn't find the range, but you've got to keep shooting. And so, I mean, these girls get out there, and I would just love, like when Kingfisher came to the Eagles Nest, I don't know. Maybe I'm not catching all of the crowd noise that is there, but I would love to see it just be so loud and so rambunctious that it really helps on that home court advantage. And it's what's gonna have to be when they play Elk City.
No, I know because he's just a natural rival, anyways, and no one
Yeah.
likes him. I mean, it starts in football, or then you
Mhm.
carried over to softball, then
Yeah.
now back to basketball. There's a lot of I don't want to say hatred, but it gets pretty intense, and it's
Well, and
you're
when
some
you're starting point guard, Shiloh Navarre takes two moving picks that are just kind of set up as cross. They penalize you, and they'll hit you for targeting in football for some of the screens she took, in that game against Elk, and so. Back in my day, John, and even in my dad's, he told me about it, but I knew there were players. You had what was called hatchet men. And a hatchet man was a guy who just went in to foul and mess with the other team's best player. He didn't care if he scored, didn't care if he rebounded. He was just going to bang around and get fouls on the best player. And that's what I kind of came away from that Elk game thinking. They just threw a hatchet man out there on Shiloh. She took two cross checks. I was like, man, this is not right. But we'll see. They'll likely come to the Eagles Nest, and hopefully the student section will do more than just stand around. And hey, kudos to the parents. The parents are the ones who are really traveling with this team and supporting them. And there are a lot of parents that are there and family. But I want to see when the Eagles Nest gets pretty full, why not make it loud too? I mean, just get out there.
Speaking of girls basketball, some of the smaller schools, I mean, just dominating Class B and A rankings, right? I mean, you look at
Yeah.
Sealing in Class A, Canute as well coming in there at number 4, and there's several matching in Class B. Jeez, you got Hammond, Lakeeba Sickles,
Oh, yeah.
there's Leedy, Mountain View, Godebo, Canton. There's considering all 100 billion Class A and B teams have to play in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's fun to kind of watch this dwindle down, but you have to think Western Oklahoma is going to be represented when they get this thing down to the final 8.
Yeah. Looking at the girls' top 15, John, Hammond, Lakeeba Sickles, Leedy, Mountain View, Godebo, and Canton, you could all say are in the area of what we cover in the top 20. So, and then in Class A girls, Sealing, Canute, they're right there. And then there are a lot of Enid towns that kind of surround Enid that kind of dominate that class as well. You'll have there's Cheyenne Raiden in Class A, top 15. So, and then last year, Merritt goes and wins it all. They are not ranked that I see this season, but, give them a playoff run and you never know. But anyways, so you said you were talking sports today with Luke Clement. I would have loved to try to get him on. I know that sports director job. It's tough.
Yeah, if he's trying to be Mike Smith's boss, it's hard.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I'll say this on record too, since I've already pissed off a lot of people. That position's not a sports assistant. You're the sports director. Because sorry, news department, you don't do much to help out on that for the daily job that Luke does and what I had to do. So Luke Clement is that's my quarterback. Luke Clement,
Yes.
my sports director.
He's a rock star.
Anyways, he's really doing a great job there at Right Media. But no, and playoffs are coming around, and they're all going to be Clinton. Sayer is at Watonga. Hey, how about Watonga hosting a 2A regional, kind of christening the new gym?
That's what we were discussing, and that place is beautiful. Have you been inside that yet? It's just it's a pretty facility, and if you get a chance to go check out some basketball, go there.
Yeah, and that's that'll be an interesting regional as well. I was looking at it, because they've got to deal with Fairview and I think Hooker there and stuff. But looks like
Merit in Class 2A, right?
Yeah, Merritt's in Class 2A, Watonga's in 2A as well. And Sayer's at that. That's the thing, John. 2A is an odd class in Western Oklahoma because you have to lump Sayer, who is out, near the edge of the earth. You have to lump them in with Watonga, and I think sometimes Hinton as well.
What about Hooker?
Yeah, Hooker, even further out, I mean, and that's what were you and I talking, saying that they should start a panhandle Sports Association, just all those teams out there with an hour drive of like Perryton or Guyman, all they just play each other and crown a champion out there.
No, but it's not the worst idea. Like Texas and Oklahoma kind of
Yeah.
form a
Yeah.
little own. I mean, no, I don't hate it because you're right. It's a trip, especially if you've got bad weather and you're halfway to Hooker and they cancel the game or vice versa. And no, there's all kinds of scenarios there where you're like, oh,
Yeah.
Guyman,
Well,
Hooker.
think about this, John. You're from Texas. I remember when I worked for the station that I worked for in Texas, just kind of covering, talking sports, high school basketball. I think they hold the championship every year in San Antonio. There was a team, and whatever the furthest northwest corner of the Texas Panhandle is, I don't know if it's Tex Line or some team that's way up there around the Oklahoma, New Mexico, Texas border, had to travel to San Antonio to play in a state final. It would
That's a
have been
long.
closer for them to go to Denver than to San Antonio. I mean, that's just insane.
It blows my mind all the time when SWASU, Weatherford, Oklahoma, hosts several different playoff games all the time for football for two Texas schools because that's the central location.
Yeah, I think Cameron or Burke Burnett did that for football this last year for Texas, and it's that old adage, you can drive faster from Houston to Chicago than Houston to El Paso, I think. So, anyways, but no, there's so much basketball coming on, and I know you're going to be a part of it because you are a daily fixture on the radio in Weatherford with Luke Clement bringing all those reports. Does he do me all right on my sound clips? I'm not up that early. Does he make me sound stupid?
Oh yeah, no, no, he
Okay.
makes you sound like a genius. He makes you
Okay.
sound like you're covering the number one team in the state.
Yeah,
Uh,
sometimes I
full
do.
in, full in, full out. No, you're good. Apparently, there's more to you just making fun of someone for tying their shoes. You have some other good
Oh yeah,
clips in there.
yeah. Marley, I give her grief, and like I said, what a kid, 1,000 point mark. She's state champion in softball. She's going to Grand Canyon University to play softball. I asked her, what was up with Grand Canyon, and it's a Christian-based school, and that's what she wanted. So I tell you, John, I mean, I can't think of any Weatherford kids during this run that I wouldn't want as a grandkid. I mean, they all are special to me. I have such a blast getting to know them as they come along, and boys and girls, just great kids. They're so much fun, and it's just a special run here, particularly for boys basketball with the Sage twins and CJ. And how about CJ Nixon hitting 2,000 points for his career? And he's eight. I think he was 140 rebounds away from 1,000. So he probably won't make that, but man, just an amazing run for him, and it's so funny because he's going to go play football for Brent Venables at OU, and I think Porter Moser's out at Norman, but they would probably love to get CJ out there to take some trips down the floor for the basketball team.
Yeah, no, I mean he's a standout athlete in both, no doubt, and he's good. Now I don't know. I'm not gonna. Never mind. Yes, you're right. I think they would love. Oh, you would take anybody right now if you can sit in the bleachers and watch the game. They may put you in the second half. It's
Oh
it's
yeah,
rough.
yeah. All those years I wanted to walk on for Billy Tubbs, and now I could probably achieve that dream even at 55.
Yeah,
Uh,
no doubt.
Dan
But
Narva
2,000 points. Back to that real fast. I
Yeah.
mean, was there not a more easier? Like it just seemed like he just glided into it. How awesome was that?
Well, he hit 1,000 2 seasons ago.
Right.
I mean, his freshman year, and let me pull that up because I've got it. I've kind of tracked it year by year. Let me get that pulled up real quick because his freshman year, it was pretty much him and Cade Jennings doing most of the scoring. Uh, and then, as time went on, they became more balanced. So the kid had 552 points his freshman season, 621 as a sophomore. So, he's kind of been in a slump really since his, no, I can't. No, CJ Nixon. I mean, you think, John, I played high school basketball. I was a undersized power forward. I scored, I think, 14 total points my career.
Jeez,
I
that's
mean, think about
impressive.
that. And I think I could play. I think that kid back then could play pretty well in this game now. But
By the way,
no,
the shocking revelation online, the fact that you're only 55. That was
yeah. Dan Narva checking in, super fan from Michigan. Quick howdy as I see you live, ducking in and out. We'll try to catch CJ's effort in the Eagles-Clinton game when I get a few spare minutes. 32 points the other night against the Red Tornadoes, and he kind of carried the first starting lineup as they gave some reserve players the start on senior night, and then about 3 or 4 minutes in, they brought in the regular starters, but he's an amazing kid, and to think that if he never stepped on a gridiron, John, he would have a lot of offers to be playing college basketball.
Yeah, no doubt. But I mean, the OU offer for college football is pretty amazing too. So
that'll
be fun to follow, no doubt. Speaking of that, did you see? I know it's Western with sports. We're talking basketball. Did you see? You think Nate Downs gets drafted?
Yeah. I mean, it'll be a second day type deal. I think I talked to. Did you say Nate Downs or Ethan?
I said Nate, but I meant Ethan. You know what I meant.
Ethan Downs.
Nate. His dad's probably not getting drafted.
No, Nate maybe ran out of eligibility, but I think I talked to Nate a while back. I ran into him at Walmart, and I think it's realistic to think that he could be a 4th or 5th round pick. I mean, at the end of the day, when you're 270 and you got speed and a high motor, I mean, as much as anything, we've seen guys get to the NFL and they could have all the prospects and hype around them as they want. If they don't have a high motor, I don't think those pro teams will jack with them. And
no, I think he's in Texas right now.
You can't say that Ethan Downs doesn't have a high motor.
No, he's one of the classiest guys you'll ever meet. He's high motor, high energy. Work ethic is unbelievable. I wish my kids had half the work ethic he has, willing to put in the effort. No, it's an amazing character. And
they're really young, John. I mean, you got to give them some time, right?
When she's 6, all right. I'm getting tired of this putting her head in a pillow.
Kid.
Yeah, let's go. Listen, she did give me the best news ever, by the way, and I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but I heard the best news ever from her about a week ago. Are we signing up for soccer?
Yeah.
Dad, I just want to focus
excited about that, weren't you?
I just want to focus on softball.
Oh. Your kid said she wanted to focus on softball.
Yes, I mean, my heart's so happy.
So you won't have to be on the soccer fields as much. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I had to turn down. I asked if I could coach, and I said,
"You get a little tear. You get a little tear in your eye."
They're not playing. I'm so happy.
Oh gosh,
I'm gonna miss it. I'm sure, but man. Anyways, sorry.
No, I mean, I get it. And if it's not your bag and your kid kind of sways that way, I mean, I understand. Soccer, to me, and you're talking about a 6-year-old, and yes. I'm probably going to catch hell from the softball fan base in Western Oklahoma, but unless some kids show some real natural proclivity towards the diamond-related sports, I say get them in soccer because – it's one big amoeba. They run around. They get some air in their lungs, and juice boxes afterwards. Nobody really keeps score. Nobody knows how good somebody did usually. But softball, man. I mean, I was that right field kid in 2nd grade, and Coweta didn't have a lot of pool hitters from the left side, so I didn't see much action.
And and I like to act like I'm all happy and all this, but we will continue soccer in the fall, just like we always do. So it's not like I finally get a break from the year-round soccer. I think that's maybe where I'm excited about more than anything.
Well, and multiple sports. I'm all for kids playing multiple sports. I don't like to hear young kids being, unless a kid just detests everything else and makes it clear. But
it's when they're at the same time. That's, I think, as a parent, that's what runs it. They're running on top of each other, and you're practicing 5 nights a week in 3 different sports. And that's the part I think that I'm excited to take the spring off in soccer and just play softball, and then we'll play soccer in the fall.
Yeah. And speaking of soccer, Weatherford soccer, I think, might have got started last Saturday at a festival in Chickasha. They're about to get underway. Clinton Red Tornado soccer is always tough on boys and girls side. I know Elk City's hoping to launch themselves into some playoff soccer as well. But you got to think the Weatherford girls are a shoe-in to get to the final again. Didn't lose, but I think they lost Keesley Denton, one senior off of last year's squad, and or at least one starting cent. I think Gracie Derlin was a senior as well. But Brayley Epp, I mean, she's an assassin on the basketball court. She's even more so on the soccer field, and she's committed to SWASU, man. I don't know if you saw it on Facebook the other night, but the SWASU soccer team showed up to support her at her game the other night.
Yeah, they all showed up for senior night. I
Yeah.
saw. I think that's what
SWASU
that
has
was.
really done a great job. And as much as I griped about Weatherford fans, the SWASU teams, Brett Weiberg's had his guys there supporting Weatherford basketball. And, I guess would Coach Zen take his girls to Anadarko to support them? Is that how that works? Or
I guess. No, he's a Northwestern alum too. We give him a really hard
oh,
time.
you should. I mean,
But the girls, no, Coach Pearson showed up with the soccer team, and you're right,
yeah.
Coach Weiberg, and vice versa. The Weatherford boys, I haven't been to a SWASU game yet that they're not at.
Yeah. Speaking of, let's go ahead and switch gears a little bit. You're a PA voice for SWASU basketball, and are the men and women going to make the GAC tournament?
Yeah, no, both of them. I mean, it was impressive to see the wins versus Northwestern, then last week as well against, oh my goodness, Henderson.
Southeastern, I think.
Southeastern. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, because it was, man, they're so good. They're so talented. It's such a fun high level of basketball. When they get going, the boys especially, they're making free throws, making shots. They've got a lot of leadership. We talk about Weatherford. He's a beast down low. Like as
really
far
is.
as a freshman, I did not expect him to get the level of playing time, but it's the amount of effort. Like he is not bigger, he is not taller, he is not thicker than these guys that he's banging with down there, but that he makes them work.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing the defense that he plays, and on top of the offense, and that's fun. MJ Warrior is great leading the basketball with as far as their quarterback's concerned. You've got Devlin, who's I mean, just all of them. They're impressive. And the girls, I mean, just like you said earlier, when they're making threes, boy, good luck.
Yeah. On the men, real quick, the Fort Cobb Broxton kid, Cray Rogers.
Yes,
Man, he's come in and really, I mean, he's taken from Class B high school basketball in Oklahoma. He has had a really nice freshman campaign in Division II basketball.
No, he's done great. He's also getting a lot of playing time as well. He comes in some big important moments and screens to get open. He's fast, and we actually got to have him on our show. We were kind of building up the Northwestern game, and he's a character. He's a genuinely nice guy, and I mean, who doesn't love a good mullet? You know?
Oh yeah, the curly mullet, it works great.
Yeah,
and that's one of those things. The drive from Fort Cobb might have been a little steep, but man, if we had the transfer portal like they do now and give that kid an NIL package to come to Weatherford, we probably get the job done last season. I mean,
that's an option.
That kid's a gunner. I mean, he is a heck of a shooter. But they won a lot of titles at Fort Cobb, and then the kid from Perkins Tryon, which is up closer to where I'm from, Tucker Shepard. I remember watching him at the Kingfisher tournament, and he had some skills, you could tell, and he's come in and had some nice games. But like you said, Nate Rehrman, what a wonderful hometown surprise he's been to come in and play so well in Division II like he has.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just amazed I mean, nobody bullies him, and that's fun to watch. It really is.
Yeah, and that's what he brought to that Weatherford Eagles team. And talking about Weatherford and Douglas rematch possibility 3.0. That's what I hope that we can muster up again, because Nate did so much defending, not just down low, but out on the perimeter. He's got quick feet and long arms, and he really was a top defender. And, this year I like the fact that the Weatherford boys are balanced with an inside-outside game. Walker Kennedy is a great perimeter shooter. Jackson Smith, how about, we would be remiss not to mention Jackson Smith's 40-point game a week and a half ago against Tuttle. Some amazing ball he's been playing lately. And that's what you're going to have if you want to bring that gold ball back to Weatherford.
And you think all players aren't important. What was that Bethany game? Was that Walker Kennedy that was out, I believe?
Yeah, Walker was out in the Bethany game, and they go to overtime. So
yeah, I'm just saying, you know what? You look at it and you get the Sage twins. Of course, you got CJ and you got Jackson, and that's a lot of talent on that basketball court, even without Walker.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, you're missing Walker. You're going to overtime with a team they're not bad. Don't get me wrong. Bethany's a good program and a good team, but
they were scrappy that night, and that's another thing. Like I mentioned, those volume threes, and you may not shoot a higher percentage from three than the team you take, but if you take a lot more and make more, you can skew a score. But yeah, when I talked to CJ last Friday, I interviewed him post game, not on the broadcast, but I got Luke Clement some audio. They weren't real happy. They weren't real pleased with their performances as of late, and teams have been able to kind of clog them up and ride them a little bit, hack on them a little bit, and so the scores have been there for the most part, but they realize that they've got to break out and really execute better and play more physical, and that was his words, not mine. But that's the thing. You get lulled in a little bit, John, wouldn't you say? I mean, you've seen some of those teams down there in the DFW area in football and basketball that are just dominant against everybody they play. And then when they, you have to adjust for when you find a team that can hang with you truly.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, just your cardio. I mean, you haven't had to play 4 quarters of a basketball game in a really long time.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden you do, and it makes a difference for sure.
And that's something Jackson Smith told me about, because one thing about Jackson Smith is he had that 40-point game against Tuttle. But to me, more importantly, was the game before that against Kingfisher. The offense was stagnant, and they had Walker out there, and Kingfisher was keying on a lot of things. And that Jackson scored 17 in that one. And to me, that 17 was more important than the 40, because it really got the Weatherford offense clicking, and he came in and filled that gap. He's going to be put in big positions, because we know that teams are going to focus on the other 4 starters. But I'll say this also, would love to see a playoff run where we go, typically Coach Bull will go 8 deep. Dylan Epp, Cash Jennings, it's gospel he'll go 6 deep, because Cash can come in and play great defense on a guard. Hunter Nelson, Dylan Epp, they'll need to come in and show that they can, because even in high school basketball, John, there's the plus and minus. When I get the stats from Coach Bull's account, or his stat keeping, it'll give each player's plus and minus, just like they do, in the pros. And so they'll have to make sure that the bench comes in and can contribute some, particularly defensively, and give the starters, a little bit of a spell here and there. So, and then, one thing that we haven't had to deal with, and knock on wood, foul trouble. We've got to keep our guys from getting into any sort of foul trouble against some of these teams. So it'll be an interesting run. And one thing about the area, John, and I mentioned this before, for the boys section, Catoosa is a top 10 ranked team, I think, in Class 4A. And I was looking at them on Twitter, and they have a lot of horses, and I think they've really played pretty well against the Tulsa area competition. They were up to number 4, I think, at one point in time in Class 4A. But they've got some really athletic kids. They've got a 6'9" kid that seems like he's really good. But I think, and this is unconfirmed, but one of the parents the other night showed me a viral video that's going around. One of the Catoosa kids, I believe, thought that he would pull off a stunt as somebody recorded it. And he thought he would hurdle an oncoming, I think, a motorcycle.
Oh, no.
And he didn't clear it. So word I'm told, and this is unconfirmed, but Catoosa may be without, if not their best player, one of their top players, because of a foolish. Now, like I said, this could be proven completely wrong. I'm just going on kind of what somebody said, and I maybe shouldn't even throw it out there. But if I'm not naming names, I can say a rumor I heard, right?
Have kids, they say. It'll be awesome, they say.
Oh, yeah. They'll make great decisions their whole life.
Yep. No,
I'm
no
sure
doubt.
your parents have uttered that several times.
Oh, I think the disappointment thing you get sometimes. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah. Well, high school basketball is going to get the playoffs underway for Class 4A, A, B, and 2A are already underway. Hey, we got followed on Lawdog Sports the other day by Henley West, the 6'3" forward for the Hammond Lady Warriors. She's committed to West Texas A&M. So
Let's
appreciate her,
go,
appreciate her
Hammond.
jumping in and following.
State champs, by the way. They're gonna win.
Man, Lomega's tough.
Stop
Lomega
it.
is a tough team. So, but man, you got 6'3", 6'3", John, in Oklahoma high school girls basketball is like 7 foot
Yep.
in would be like 7 foot in boys ball. I mean, what they can do without even, because that girl from, and I hear time and time again, she's Todd Bruner's cousin, and he just rides her, like a rented mule, but he's proud of her being his cousin.
Of
She was a
course.
great player. I get it, but I give him grief. But she's playing at OU, and man, when she was at Tuttle, I mean, she had nice touch off of the glass. She had, she could rebound. And here's my number one boogaboo, John.
Mm-hmm.
Tall kids, and even some of the just average size kids, get the rebound. And what do they do first thing? Bring it down around their hip.
No, nobody does that.
Keep that ball up high. Even tall people will have to foul you to get that ball back. Don't bring it down on the floor. And, that's just the quickest way to get tied up or get a turnover. But when you got a 6'3" girl, it's like having a 7-footer out there. And so good luck to the Hammond Lady Warriors.
All I'm saying is 53-51, about 18 days ago,
Which one was that?
Hammond defeats Lomega.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
So, I mean, I'm just saying.
Good. I mean,
Just
I thought
saying.
Omega was one, and they're defending state champions. But yeah, and then like I said, Lukiba Sickles, they made a heck of a run last year. So
Yeah.
Class B. And here's my thing, John. I've always loved, and I don't love the facility. I have a lot of bad memories from being a police officer in Oklahoma City of dealing with crap out at the fairgrounds, and the arena, the big house. But for basketball, it's always been great to see, because you think about it. And you played high school football, and you saw the dawn of your career, or hit. But what's that song? You're always 17 in your hometown.
Cross Canadian Ragweed.
Yeah, just think about a town of 300.
Yeah.
And your team, the team you're on makes state. You're going to go out there and leave your guts on that floor. And that's what I've always loved about small school basketball. I mean, even when we lived in Oklahoma City, I would make a trip to the big house to watch the basketball finals, because you would see the crowds from these towns show up, and the players out there. And I mean, and they just play so hard. And then the ones that lose, I mean, it's just gut wrenching to see. But, kudos to all of them, and good luck to everybody going forward in the playoffs.
Last year, by the way, of the big house.
At the big house, they've been saying that for 10 years now, but we'll see.
No, they're ready to open the doors. They could have, if they would have not tried, they could have played in the new facility this year, but I think it was smart waiting.
Is your primary employer, do they have a hand in promoting that?
No.
No, I guess they can't, can they?
No.
Yeah. Speaking of, and let's get into some other stuff as we'll kind of wrap this up and look to wrap up the episode. Super Bowl. It was quite the blowout. Did you monitor some of the prop bets or anything that people were taking a bath on?
I mean, Eagles in the over, right? That was pretty much just the money line. I think where you ran into some issues were, I saw Vegas whining about so certain things hit. A third player to throw a pass came in and then of course a third player to take a rushing, or like a certain number of players to take a rushing attempt.
Yeah.
When Foles comes in and takes a knee. So there's several instances there that I think people are like, and then those last pointless touchdowns. But no, as far as the under hit on the national anthem, I know that's a big one.
Oh,
by
okay.
like 1 second. Normally, everyone always bets the over because
Really?
you expect it to be long and drawn out.
Well, I tell you what, John, if I had a prop bet on the national anthem at the Pioneer Event Center with that Gaither vocal band version,
Yeah.
I'd take the over every time, and I'd be a millionaire.
2 minutes and what is it? I think it's 2 minutes and 40
God.
seconds, which is funny.
I grew up listening to Southern gospel, and I'm probably going to alienate a lot of people here, but Man, that Gaither vocal trio version, it makes me want to rebel against America. I mean,
Stop it.
it's just
Stop
the
it.
worst. And every one of those Southern gospel songs ends the same way with a, "Ah," high note. And it's just, my gosh, can you break? I mean, when I hear a recording of a marching band playing the national anthem, I just breathe a sigh of relief because it's
Well,
like, oh, we're going to get through this.
fortunately, the SWASU band has been on site most home games this year, so we haven't had to get. And then Taryn
Bless
Galt,
them.
same.
Bless
Taryn
them.
Galt from SWASU volleyball sang, and then we also had oh, Miss SWASU. She came and she sang as well there for national anthem. So no, there's been
Yeah.
I think it's only played one time this basketball season.
That's a blessing right there. I mean, it's just, I mean, they make me want to rebel. I mean, honestly, John, the Gaither vocal band version makes me want to join Al Qaeda. I mean,
It's only 40 seconds longer than a normal anthem.
but it's the longest 40 seconds in your life. I mean, it's just so bad, John. Anyways, but yeah, the Super Bowl, I kind of, here's the thing. In the studio, we've got Roku TV on the monitor here. And there's a radio network called Sports Grid, and they don't talk a lot of analysis about a game. They talk betting lines. It is solely gambling radio.
Okay.
It's betting radio. And there's a guy on there who used to be on CBS Sports named Scott Farrell, and he's got this voice where he talks like this, and he's like Froggy, and they were just reaming on the Chiefs and all all the bets that just got, like you said, Vegas apparently got their teeth kicked in on a few things. But did you do anything, subterfuge, or did you have any interest in the Super Bowl?
Not as far as picking something out. I went the random style, playing the lottery, if you will, and I was pretty invested in squares for some reason.
Yeah, those
for
are
the Super Bowl.
Yeah, those are always good. Who came away on that?
If you had 0-0, you did pretty good. That seemed to hit a
true.
lot. 7 and 4 as well. No, there's this one square that's pretty legitimate, pretty cool. It's got a $20,000 pot and it pays every score. So like,
Oh,
if you have 0-0, it pays like 500, and then
gosh.
if to start the game, and then if for some reason it's 10-10 or 20-10 or whatever, another 500 pays, and then 1,000 each quarter, and then at the end of the game, whatever's left gets the remainder of the pot. So I mean, even like 6-7, if someone kicks an extra point, like touchdown 7, someone scores a touchdown, 6-7 gets $500, and then they kick the extra point, 7-7 gets $500. So a lot of payouts, but a lot of fun to follow.
Yeah. I'm just catching up on some comments here. Kenny McGuire, his mom, Jana Rogers, was a heck of a player. He must be talking about Cray Rogers. So sorry, Kenny. My comments weren't updating. And
yeah, mine closed too as well. I don't know what I did wrong.
Yeah, Jana Rogers, good player and a really good coach. And then he was the one that questioned that I was only 55. So thanks. Yeah, I think I look younger than 55, honestly. But
I believe you. I believe that you think that.
If you saw my golf swing, you would realize why it's probably good that
you play from the red tees.
The red tees, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Speaking of sports betting, John, I mean, are we going to see some movement in any way? I know the Mavericks are holding the Texas legislature hostage to try to get it going in Texas.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's the play. I mean, they're owned by a Vegas investment team. I thought the rumor was trade Luka and move to Vegas. So who knows if there's any truth to that? But I think they've said.
I mean, the caveat to that, and sorry to interrupt you, but either pass it in the legislature and let them build a humongous destination resort centered around Mavs basketball with gambling and all kinds of other hedonism, or they're going to move to Vegas.
Right, but then you also have the world's largest casino, or second world's largest casino, spending lots and lots of money fighting against it, right there across the border. Yes, yeah, WinStar, Choctaws as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and you watch a University of Texas football game, a Texas Rangers baseball game, probably
Dallas
Cowboys. I'm sure they invest in the stars. There's always a WinStar or Choctaw resort ad being played.
Oh, AT&T Stadium on the bottom of AT&T Stadium at the bottom of that big mega scoreboard.
Yeah,
it's just a big WinStar logo.
Yeah, and I'm okay with the pros, but the fact that an Oklahoma tribe gives the University of Texas one dime just pisses me off.
Yeah, but
Cool.
you hate that school.
I hate them so bad. I just despise every moment of them. But yeah, I mean, and you talk about a wasteland, and I'm not so worried about your primary employer, but the Chickasaws and the Choctaws could take a big hickey if that gets passed, and they can gamble. They can build casinos in the state of Texas.
It'll make a difference for sure. Interested to see how that plays out. I mean, I know there's one down there by Eagles Pass, and there's other ones that are in the state of Texas, but nothing legally that they've been able to
Yeah.
expand on, if you will.
That's funny you say Eagle Pass because I can remember when I used to produce Spurs basketball. I was a board op for them at iHeart in Oklahoma City, and one of the primary ads they would run it was actually a Kickapoo casino in Eagle Pass, Texas. And it's like, wow, go to Eagle Pass. If you win a jackpot at the casino in Eagle Pass, good luck making it home, bud. you better wire that money somewhere safe.
Oh man,
Can y'all direct deposit this jackpot I just won?
Yes, please.
Yeah. No, but and here's the thing, the Cheyenne Arapaho tribe, hopefully they can keep that Hammond casino open if they can build one in Canadian Texas. That would put a dent.
Yeah, Canadian, yeah, no doubt. Maybe Elk City, maybe some other. There's options out there for sure.
I mean, the reason I say that is I remember one day, and you cover a lot of news. There was like a hit and run accident on Highway 33 just outside of Hammond, and the victim or something was somebody from Canadian Texas. And it's like I think the story was they had been at the casino. And it's like, wow, drive from Canadian Texas to Hammond to gamble. That's some dedication.
Drive from Amarillo to Clinton, no doubt.
Yeah, you would. How about all the traffic from Amarillo to Clinton? My God.
I-40 has a lot of vehicles on it.
Yeah. All right, well, let's start making our way out of here. John, what do you got going for the rest of the week?
I've got to run my wife some Valentine's Day party stuff. That's at school today.
Are those kids going to be warm enough to partake in Valentine's activities?
I bet the heater's working great there. Yeah, no. And then let's see. Swasu's on the road.
Yeah. Arkansas got moved back Friday and Sunday, I think.
A few more third grade basketball practices to get on. I think church tomorrow or tonight, maybe if that's not canceled.
Yeah.
Drop the kids off, maybe date night. I don't know. All kinds of options.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got this event, and what am I doing? Oh, Saturday, I'm Taylor's going to a women's conference. I think it's called like Water. So it's me and the girls.
Yeah.
We're talking about going to see a movie or maybe bowling.
Okay. Hey, message from Lonnie Nunley, who is a former All-State basketball player from southwestern Oklahoma, I believe. He was the cash AD for years. I know who he is. He says when they got districts, they were shocked too. Now he knows why wrestling hosting a regional at Weatherford. That makes a lot more sense. I get it now, and I'll say this, being a guy who didn't follow wrestling in high school, even though the school I went to, Coweta, was a state champion during my years in high school. If they were at home, basketball was always on the road. So we never crossed paths ever. And so I get wrestling. Wrestling is big in the state of Oklahoma, John, and they don't get a lot of love. I mean, they don't get a lot of hype.
No, I agree. I didn't realize it. I mean, because I grew up in Texas, we at 5A, big school, graduated class of 700 people. Never even knew wrestling was a sport.
Yeah. Did you see the kid for the OU wrestling program that is the son of WWE Hall of Famer Mark Henry?
No.
He's been wrestling at OU. Now he's decided he's going to walk on for Brent Venables at OU. He'll be a defensive line walk on.
Let's go.
Do you remember Mark Henry as a wrestler?
Yes.
Humongous powerlifting dude.
No, as strong as can be. No, that's speaking of wrestling, OSU and Iowa State. Some big matches coming up this soon.
There's four programs that come to mind when I think wrestling and collegiately. It's Oklahoma State, Penn State, Iowa, and Iowa State. I mean,
there you go.
I think those are like the blue bloods of college wrestling. Maybe a Michigan squad. I don't know. But anyways, so Lonnie Nunley, the former, he does a different admin job now for Cash. And we'll be down there Saturday to see him. But he checked in on the Messenger app, so appreciate that. And Kenny McGuire, Marty Wandry, and Dan Narva, thank you for checking in. And I don't know, John. You'll have the opportunity to catch some of these big school blowouts on Ripe.media online. You can watch some of these wonderful play-in games that you love so well.
Hey, all links are still alive. Whether you want to go watch Sayre, Watonga, Weatherford, Thomas, Hydro Eakley, everyone's still alive for at least 2 weekends.
Yeah, Max Patton will be in Watonga calling the Sayre games, and then Mike Crow will be on the road. I think Thursday Thomas is at Union City. I forget who they play, but they'll have a game. I think it's like Thursday afternoon at Union City for their regional, and a lot of my neighbor kids will be playing in that, and hopefully they'll make a good run in the regional. So anyway, hey man, thanks for jumping on with me.
Anytime. You're more it's been awesome.
We'll make it a Wednesday date thing if you're not tied up with soccer, basketball, or softball combo.
Lots of things going on, no doubt.
Lots of things going on. All right, he's John Matthews. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog, and this has been Western Oklahoma Sports Night, which is a program offshoot of Law Dog Sports that we'll try to bring you on Wednesdays throughout the high school sports season. And follow John on 95.5 The Coyote Mornings with Val the Gal. And then also we'll have him on here as often as we can. Friday should be 9 a.m. for me and Jeremy Schroeder on Law Dog Sports, the Weekend Big Show. A lot to talk about there as we'll have fun on that one. Be safe out there. Don't text and drive, and sure don't drink and drive. And we'll talk to you real soon.